Oh, yeah, I don't know this one. Well, is that what happens when the Avs actually try for most of the game? Welcome in to the Toyota Winners Lounge. Of course, powered by your Front Range Toyota dealerships. This is the DNVR Avalanche post-game show presented by Bet365. Big E and Rudo coming to you live as the Avs win in a shootout over the Vegas Golden Knights. They do secure the third seed. They cannot do any worse than the third seed in the Central now, with 1 point tonight was enough to get them there. And they do ultimately hit a couple of milestones tonight. The win means they reach 100 points on the season.
Yep.
Nathan MacKinnon also hit a milestone, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Let's just start with the first period. Let's be real. Another first period where the Avs did not look particularly engaged. You get a power play, you give up a shorty, and the Avs kind of go through the motions of the rest of the first.
You know what it tells me? It tells me that head coach Bednar got a really good pulse on his team, because he did address it last couple of days in the pressers and saying, like, you know, it's tough to get it's any team. It's not just the Avalanche. But once you have your position, so to speak, locked in. But what he said was more, once the game gets going, once they feel that they're into a game, then all of a sudden the juices start flowing, and then the compete in them starts going, and all of a sudden they play. And that's exactly what they did tonight. As you know, first period was awful. But unlike like St. Louis or where they felt like, I mean, they did fall multiple goals behind today, but still, St. Louis was worse, and it became
by
out
a
of
lot.
reach. You know what I mean? So the comeback came short, where this one got themselves back into the game. You called it within a couple minutes. You said, they'll start playing halfway through the game, and they kind of did a little bit earlier.
It's a little earlier, for sure.
And they were the dominant team for most of the game, for the two periods that they played. You almost feel bad for Akira Schmid. He was great. He deserved it better. He deserved the W. For, what was it, a second game of the season? He's been more in the minors this year, but not that I know him, but he did look good. And again, we never feel bad for the opposition, but I'm saying that he deserved better. And again, Wedgwood was good too. He was good when he had to be, and he wasn't. Again, another game where the Avalanche gave up less than 20 shots in a matter of 60 minutes played, right? I'm not too sure what it ended up in overtime.
With overtime, it ended up being 21.
21, okay. So there you go. Per 60, it was under 20 again. And again, I know Jack Eichel wasn't there, Peter Angelo, all that kind of stuff. And we all know the Avs had a bunch of people missing as well. So we all know as two teams that were just playing, right? But the Avalanche kind of took over. The seriousness took over. They played better. They were smarter. But their first two power plays were absolutely awful. But again, it goes with that first period, right?
Yep.
So once they started playing, like you said, started caring, it's amazing what it does. It's amazing what the outcome does. And fun people, fun game for the people at Ball Arena. So, I mean, they walk out of there, and like you said, it was kind of excited at the end. So it kind of turned out to be, after the first period, where we were like, oh my God, what are we going to talk about, to where this was fun.
It was setting up for a disaster.
This is fun. So this is fun. This was fun. This was great.
Yeah, I think a couple of things are true there. The Avs definitely were in cruise control for the first period. I do think giving up that goal early in the second woke them up a little bit. It took a little while for them to ramp up into the game, but I think the Avs got down 2-0 and took a look at themselves and said, are we really going to do this again? Like, are we really going to just not even care at all again? And the answer was no. They stepped up, and at the end of the day did what they needed to do in this game. And sure, Vegas was trying to get away with a little bit of cruising tonight too. That is definitely true.
Of course.
They sat a bunch of guys. This was not the A game from Vegas by any stretch of the imagination. But ultimately, you cannot like the process in the first period. You can't fault the process in the last 35 minutes of this game, I would say, from Colorado. Was pretty well put together for the most part, except for some of those late penalties. But
Well, go back to the two words you used, right? Intensity and engagement. And I think he got that for the last 40 minutes. Make it easy. For the last two periods, he mostly got that.
Yeah, I would agree.
I mean, again, it started wrong because Coyle makes, it's rare Coyle does that. He bobbles the puck, and next thing you know, it's like, it's a 2-on-1. He doesn't stop the puck. And, whatever it was just bad all the way around. And that's from your ace, the best player on the planet. But you're right. I think the last 40, they got effort. They got some integrity in their game. Smarter puck management, except when they pitchfork the puck in the stands, but that's okay.
Yep.
Stuff happens. So, yeah. I think all in all, it was fun. They've been so good at home this year, right? Besides the start of the year. So I think it was important to the fans to get a win. And I think it'll be important Thursday to get another win before the playoff starts. We all know how crazy it's going to be in the playoffs, but it's always fun the last game of the year, right? With the jersey off your back and all that type of stuff that they do. And I think it's great to show support to the home crowd because, let's face it, without the fans, you wouldn't have a team, right? So I think it's great. And I think the kids, the players, I think responded. Somebody must have said something after the first and said, okay.
Enough.
Let's just, enough. Like, I understand. We all understand. We're all on the same page, but we're home right now. What else do we have to do? Let's just do this and we can go home to bed tonight. Tomorrow's another day and back at her Thursday. So mission accomplished tonight. And again, besides that, 20 minutes, whatever it was, there's not much to complain about afterwards.
You brought up Coyle. I'm curious what your thoughts are on his game as a whole tonight.
Well, you and I were talking about it. I love Coyle. It's rare that I feel Coyle's been one of their best players through all that stretch of non-intensity, and let's leave it at 6-7 games. But I felt tonight, I felt Coyle had a tough one tonight.
I would agree.
And but that's okay. I'd rather have him a tough one on a game like tonight. End up winning, and we all know that's not a normal thing, so it's all good.
I don't think Coyle was good tonight.
Yeah, but stats will say that he was great.
Yes and no. There are two conversations I want to have here. The stats, first of all, his underlying possession numbers are actually ridiculously good.
There you go.
Shots on ice while he was out there, 14-4 in the Avs' favor at 5-on-5. Obviously, the big error came on the power play where he gives up the shorty, so fair enough. Actual impact plays, though, shots on goal from Cale Makar, just one tonight. Was not particularly efficient with his puck touches.
I'll stop you right there because I feel that he was one of the best players, obviously, all year long. But I'm talking about the last 6-7 games. I felt he had a shot-first mentality. I think he wanted to get the 30. He's never going to say it, but he wanted to get the 30.
The load comes off a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just that's just my gut. Again, this guy's so good, he's the best player on the planet. So I said, to my standards, it was more the puck exploded like a grenade off his stick a couple times, or he went on, which is rare. You see that from Coyle. That's what I was saying. I knew the numbers were going to be good. Obviously, they gave up nothing, and they had about 40 shots. So I knew somewhere, somehow, like I said, he plays 25 minutes a night. He has the puck on the stick the whole night. Good things usually happen. When they don't, they stick out like a sore thumb.
I guess my question would be with someone like Coyle, when time comes and the Avs are in the playoffs, I'm not worried about his play at all.
No.
But when you have Coyle playing a game like this one and not playing his best, you just broke that 30-goal mark. Coyle doesn't really have a lot to play for, unlike a Nathan McKinnon, who was trying to hit some milestones at that point. Do you let Coyle just play games like this to end the season, or do you consider maybe giving him a game off? And look, I know every NHLer will say, no, I want to play, but sometimes someone else has to make that decision for him.
Again, you want my answer?
I want your answer.
I'll give you my answer. I don't bring him on the trail. Again, I'm the head coach of the team. I'm one of the managers, whatever. I bring it up at a meeting here tomorrow morning. I don't bring him next weekend.
Same. I would rest him.
Why would you get on the plane, go there? They're going to have their stuff here done during the week, right? Their team dinner with the wives and everything and, all that stuff. Management does a great job to get everybody ready for a grueling but exciting 2 months. again, I think he's winning the Norris. He's got his 30.
Should pretty much be a shooting.
They're not
at this
moving
point.
in
Yeah.
the standings. I don't want to hear, they're going to catch Dallas. Great.
Dallas
awesome.
has to lose out in regulation.
Then you know what? If it is, so be it. But at the end of the day, I just don't let him get on the plane. I don't let him go over there on a back-to-back. You're going to say, well, you don't have to play him. No, I understand that. But you're still like sitting there. Stay home. Stay home. Go to the massage. Go to the spa. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
I'm just saying that's just what I do. What I would do. Again, I'm not sure what they're going to do. And you're right. Every player wants to play. So that's a big difference. But I think you take it out of their hands and you say, this is what you're doing.
I would agree. That's where I'm at with it too. I would not be surprised if he plays out the season. It's fine. It would also be he's on pace to play all 82 this year, which is not regular for Cale. So maybe he wants to do that. I don't know. Either way, just thought I'd bring it up as
it's a great bring up.
Ultimately, I don't have a ton of negatives to take out of this game beyond the first period as a whole and the first minute of the second.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I was just keeping my eye on that front. I do want to move forward, though, and talk about the way the Avs get into this game. Because, yes, they give up the shorty, dumb, bad first period, and then you get an Eric no-no, giving up a goal in the first minute of the second.
Wow.
But what really gets this Avs back into this game, and while I do think they started playing better earlier than this in the second, what really gets them back into this game is their special teams. Their power play breaks through. Val Nichushkin's the one that put it in the back of the net. He put it about as little into the net. Not really the back, just over the goal line.
In the back of the goal line.
And then the back of Akira Schmid's glove, past the goal line. There's netting in the glove. That counts.
I had said to myself, and I said it to you and Tiff, like, I'm going to be very calm tonight because ultimately it doesn't really matter, right? Like we said. But those first two power plays, I'm not going to lie to you. Like
zero shots in two power.
My blood just went up. Like, it was just killing me. And as you know, like, I love this team. I love those players. But when they get stubborn on the power play, man, does it bother me. And it was just bothering me. And I was like, I better breathe in a little bit. And then, obviously, that power play goal after that is what gets them back in the game. So,
Look, on occasion, I think we probably harp on the shooting a little bit too much for Colorado. I think there are nights where they definitely don't shoot enough, and then there are some nights where it might be a little bit deceptive, and they're shooting it more than we think. But zero shots on two. You literally can't score a goal if you have zero shots on two power plays. And hopefully the Avs got the message, because guess what? They went out in the third power play, they shot the puck, and it went in the net. Who could have seen this coming?
I always say a shooting power play is a productive power play, and I stick to that.
Yep.
Because they'll get tipped, they'll go in, they'll create chaos, but you got to go to work once you do that, right? Because now you're making the box of the diamond move, you're making their D's turn. Mm-hmm. You got to be a hard worker, you got to pounce on pucks, and then next thing you know, maybe that's where your little plays work, right? Because
do the work first.
Those guys are not tight anymore.
Exactly.
But once they're all facing the same way, like it's hard to do that play. And if you do, well, the other team was really sleeping. Like I'm talking about, give it to the bumper or the cross ice pass. And we've seen the Avs do it this year, but we've seen them really not succeed with it. So let's just say the percentage is not good.
Yeah.
And I don't mind it. I don't like it when it's right off the bat. When it's right off the bat and they're all sitting there and it's like, what? And then they take the puck and they ice it down and you're like,
do the work to earn it first. Then do the fancy
I'm
play.
not saying that. And again, he's leading the league in scoring. No, I get that. Maybe he'd get 150 this year instead of 120, whatever he is, 115. So, and again, some guys are more stubborn than others.
Very true.
And then the Avalanche, sometimes those guys are stubborn. They like to just move it and zip it around to nothing. You know what I mean? So,
yep.
All good.
It's all good. And it did turn into a good game. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But first, we do have to pay a few bills here. We'll jump into that right now as, of course, betting was a little tough today. We didn't do great on the bets.
Nope.
But you know what? I'll gladly lose my bets for an Avalanche win over at Bet365. And the best part is when you sign up with a new account and code DNVR365 at Bet365, you put $10 in, bet 5 on anything, win or lose that bet, you get $150 in bonus bets. You lose a few bonus bets. Didn't even really cost you that much. Basically free money you get to play with over at Bet365. If you go into NHL betting, any game where a team gets a lead by 3, you get the instant payout. So if you pick the Stars to win, you won that bet tonight, even though the Stars lost. That's how it goes over at Bet365. Make sure you get in with Bet365 today. Use that DNVR365 code to get those $150 in bonus bets, whatever you're betting on. Basketball, baseball. I mean, bet on the Rockies bullpen to give them 1,000,000 runs. You'll be a millionaire. I guarantee it. When you do gamble with them, of course, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. And if you do win a little bit of money on Bet365, make sure you're investing in living your best life. The best way to live your best life is to have the floors you want over at Empire today. Make sure you get in with Empire today to get your new floors. You get $350 off those floors at empiretoday.com/DNVR or using the DNVR code. Empire Today is great. They have only the best products. They don't carry all the junk that you have to sift through. You'll find what you want, and it'll be quality guaranteed. So make sure you get with Empire Today. Get their professional installation. Go get with their guys who will give you a free in-home estimate. They'll come in. They'll measure out stuff. They'll give you some examples of what you want in your space. You can get with them. It's a great deal. And a great way to see what you might like. Maybe you're a carpet guy like me. Maybe you're a hardwood person like E. Maybe you like tiling. I don't get what you want. Pop off. It's your floor. Get $350 off it at empiretoday.com/DNVR. Of course, terms and conditions apply, but go check them out today. 1-800-588-2300. Empire
Today.
Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. Let's get into our 3 stars. We'll talk about some other guys too after. But third star, almost entirely achievement star for his career, and Nathan MacKinnon, who does pick up an assist on the Val Nichushkin power play goal, ties Joe Sakic for the all-time Avalanche point total. Will almost certainly pass him before the season is out. What I think is more interesting about this stat, Nathan MacKinnon produced the exact same amount of points as Joe Sakic did in the exact same amount of games. Now, different eras. Obviously, Sakic was on the back half of his career for a lot of that time, as opposed to Nathan MacKinnon now in the middle of his prime. But still, awfully darn impressive that we are, at this point in Nathan MacKinnon's career, we are already talking about him being potentially the statistically best Avalanche player ever.
Listen, I played with Joe, and he was sick. Yeah. I'm just saying, night in, night out, day in, day out, like practice. Every game, he was just dominant. And when you're looking at it, like you just said, it's the same amount of games. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's pretty awesome. And more to come.
Yep.
More to come.
Yep.
And the consistency is what I say all the time. It's pretty sick. Like the home streak again that he's putting on.
26 straight now.
That's pretty sick. He is special. And this is an era that it's kind of fun to watch Avalanche hockey. And he's certainly at the top of the food chain there with Kale. And kind of fun when you make those plays in the sense that you get those achievements and then makes you look back. And for someone that's older like myself, and it's like, wow, it's kind of a little bit like that grade 8 chase, that great chase, whatever, this past week. You know
the
what
great
I mean?
chase.
Like,
yeah, sure.
You never think that anybody could compare to Gretzky. You know what I mean? And then for me, as an Avs person, you never think that anybody could touch Forsberg or Sakic or Piwa, or you know what I mean? And it's like when somebody does it like that, and it's like, hey, same amount of games, it's like, holy crap, you know what I mean? So, all right, I'll give it to him, you know what I mean? So it's pretty awesome, pretty cool.
It's cool to watch, and
yep.
Part of our job is to analyze the team and be critical of where players are struggling at times, as well as prop them up. And
of course.
Nathan MacKinnon has not been the best version of himself over the last handful of games. And he is still doing things like breaking Avalanche records because this is not a downer on him. I'm saying he's that good where we can say, wow, Nathan MacKinnon can really play better than this, and he'll still pot a point, pick up a secondary assist, find a way to get the Avs power play cooking. He can just do that because that's who he is. He's the dog. Put it to you that way. Our second star is the wedge wall himself, Scott Wedgwood. Only gives up 2 tonight. Obviously didn't have a huge workload. That's probably what kept him out of the first star for me. But makes the saves he needed to and then aces the shootout and overtime for the Avs. Allows the Avs to get this win.
I love the pick because go back to what Bednar said before the game. Want some engagement? Well, this guy's engaged. You know what I mean? When he plays, he's engaged in the game. He's engaged in his crease. He's engaged with his players. He's challenging shooters. You're talking about being ready now when the end of the season starts, which is the playoffs, and we all know your backup. He's a great backup. Doesn't really play, but might have to play. So I would say mission accomplished right now for Wedgwood. He's feeling good. His game is on point. He's a leader with this team, and tonight showed it to you again. You got to make the saves at the right time, and he made some big ones at the end there.
Sure
and
did.
I think that guys play for him. He's a good person. He's a good guy. This guy's ready to go to perform, to whatever he's asked of. You know what I mean? In those situations coming up.
Yep.
But his game, I would say, you're talking about floors and ceilings right now. He's at the ceiling. You know what I mean? Like this is his, probably, if you asked him, probably the best hockey he's played in his career.
You know what else he's good at? He's a good talker.
Oh, yeah.
Chatted after the game in the locker room. Let's hear what Wedgie had to say about a squeak-out win, but a good win for the Avs.
Didn't have much work again for a long period of time, and then a couple saves in the second near the end just to keep us in the hunt, and then getting one and then going into the third and doing what we do was obviously fun to watch again.
What is your mental approach if you do find yourself down a couple like you were tonight, just to stay in the game?
Just like I said, just kind of keep the team in it and don't want to give up any more and make it any harder on them. And obviously you don't want to get ahead of yourself, but just next try mentality, try and control my rebounds, make it as easy as I can for those guys, and not have to spend too much time on our end. If I can soak a couple whistles and not have them battling net front, and just turn it around and let them go north.
You guys are pretty much locked into your seed now in the Central. Is it hard for you guys to get maybe emotionally invested in some of these games here down the stretch? And if so, how do you kind of fight that?
Not personally. I mean, I sure have to scratch and claw for every start I can get, and I think that's the mentality in here. So you don't want to coast into the postseason either. But I think like you said, now with the kind of points and statistics that they're going to be, it's just kind of you want to have your good habits and your good mentality, and obviously playing at the top of your game. But at the same time, you want to obviously not put yourself at risk, and just kind of finding a balance there. But if we do what we did tonight for the remaining 3, we'll be in good shape.
Charlie Coyle makes a pretty big difference in this game, but defensively, he played at the final minute of overtime. What have you seen about how he plays in front of you that you really appreciate as a goaltender?
It's just smart. Obviously big face-off guy, first and foremost, and then just where and what you're going to give up. You have a lefty one-timer, but you don't want to pass coming back. So a lot of the plays that they kind of leave me looking at is kind of one-shot mentality, especially on a 4-on-3. It's kind of hard as they want to load up one-timer, which they ended up doing. But if that's all they're going to give up, at least I kind of have that anticipation for it. And then just having good sticks and you don't get chasing. He's just a smart guy, and we're looking to lean on him with his consecutive 13th postseason or whatever he's got going. I read a stat, so I'll be happy to have him on our side for sure.
Thanks, Scott.
Whoa.
Nice.
How do you get that?
I don't know how you did that, buddy. I don't know what you're playing right now.
Oh,
but
that's what we. But I don't know how. I went like this and it played it right to our stuff.
You can back me up on this, or you can disagree with me on this. Where the Avs are, Mackenzie Blackwood is your starter in the playoffs, right?
Yes.
But with the way Wedgwood is playing, if Blackwood falters a little bit, is there a consideration of going to Wedgwood in the playoffs?
I mean, you never know. Like if you go back to that run in 2022, right? Frankie kind of, obviously there was an injury, whatever, but kind of had to do some some damage control, so to speak, right? And he did. So I'm not worried about Wedgwood because he's going to be ready. And I'm not worried about McKenzie. I think he's going to be ready to go. And his numbers have been fantastic since he's been an Avalanche. But I feel better because both guys are playing. They're going to be playing well, and they've done well for the Avalanche this season. So it's a lot better than last year when we were like squeezing it a little bit. Like, oh boy, like really? This is what they're going with? I don't know. Where right now I feel really good. Going to be a few hours tonight. Not a lot, but I'll sleep good. I won't be thinking about goaltending for the playoffs, so I'm not worried about it.
Fair enough. I got no argument there. Let's get over to our first star, Charlie Coyle. Once again, the shootout hero for the Avs for the second time since he's joined them, but also picks up assists on both of the Avalanche goals tonight. That production is starting to come for him a little bit more consistently. Obviously, he's not going to be a multi-point guy every night for the Avs. But we talk about the Avs and how important their center depth is. It has to show up on the score sheet. And a night where Nathan MacKinnon did get a point, sure. But a night where maybe Brock Nelson was a little bit on the quieter side, Coyle steps up and is able to give you that production.
Well, what he gives you is he gives you options, right? We talk about it all the time. I tell you all the time about the crap burger ice and the good ice. So all of a sudden tonight there's a bunch of guys missing. So he get the first power play, right? You know what I mean? So what does he do? Gets an assist there. The more you get opportunities to shine and to do something else than to just be reliable, then the more you're going to produce. So I think he knows what he is. I think he knows what he is when everybody's healthy, but when everybody's not healthy or there is a hole, like I said, that you need, or somebody gets kicked out in a game, in a playoff game, then you know you can go to him. And you're talking about auditioning. This guy passes the auditions all the time. Very smart player, has done it all, can play a bigger role offensively, can play a smart defensive role, can take face off, can play on the power play, can play on the PK. You talk about the power play. Well, he had a big PK there in overtime. He's one of the three guys.
True.
Why? Because he's trusted. He's a trusted player by Bednar. And that's why they went and got the acquisition that they did in him. He's an important player. He chews his gum all day long. Didn't look too nervous on that shootout. Looked like a 50-goal scorer. You know what I mean? And again, he's a former Terror. It bodes well for the weekend.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see on that front. Charlie did also talk in the locker room, so let's see what the hero had to say for the Avalanche after that one.
Don't think we don't know it.
It's a slow start for you guys. You guys find a way to get back in it. How did that one unfold for you?
Sometimes it doesn't go your way at the start. You go down a few goals. It's all about what you do from that point on, and whether it's a next line going out there and doing a job, swaying momentum. Maybe it's a penalty kill. Maybe we go out and get a big power play goal, and then that next line feeds off of that and create a momentum, and we kind of clawed our way back in the game that way. So it was kind of a shift after shift mentality of each line going out, wearing them down. They take penalties, we capitalize, and then we keep moving from there.
Can you take us through the penalty shot, what you were seeing, what you were thinking?
Well, it's nice when Wedgie does his job there and shuts the door and releases the pressure off of us going second. So I was able to kind of just be a little more at ease and just focus on what I wanted to do, what I saw, and I thought I saw what I saw, and I went forward, and luckily it found the back of the net.
Jared talks about how your percentage in shootouts. What is it that you like about him?
I really don't like him, to be honest. It's a high pressure situation, but it's the little things you kind of work on, and when you're younger, playing street hockey in front of your house and just working on moves, looking at what goalies are, what their tendencies are, and then trusting your abilities and what you do and what's worked for you in the past. So sometimes it's a spur of the moment thing. Sometimes you have a couple moves going in, but sometimes you get a little lucky and it finds it back.
You've been rewarded a lot these last few games. Is there something you've changed about your game?
No, I don't think so. I think just trusting what I do, feeling a little more comfortable, using my body, feeling better that way, and trying to hang on to the puck, and you gain confidence doing that. My line mates have been really, really, really good. and that helps my game, especially if I'm not pulling my weight as much as I should and your line mates pick you up. So I've had a lot of that. And then once you get one, you get a few, confidence builds, and you kind of just, it's nice when you get rewarded doing the right things, and your line mates too. So we've kind of been sticking on that the last little bit.
Would you say Charlie Coyle is a chill guy?
Yes.
You can be chill too. Make sure you're choose chill at very least, even if you're not chill. Go get yourself a Coors Light. Look, even if you're freaking out about the Avs game, having fun, Coors Light, great thing to have in your hand and enjoy while you're watching an Avs game. Go get it. Mountains turn blue on the bottle or the can to let you know the beer is ice cold and ready to drink, whatever the situation. It doesn't have to be sports. Maybe you're grilling out back as my grass is finally starting to turn green again. It's getting warm here in Colorado. You can jump in with Coors Light. Out back, head to sit on the deck, have a beer, enjoy the grill, whatever it might be with Coors Light. Wherever you go, you can go get it. They're available everywhere at your local liquor store. But maybe more importantly, you can get it delivered right to your front door thanks to CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Instacart will ship it right to you. You can order straight from your couch. It's just that easy. While you're watching the Avs game, maybe order at intermission, Easy life. Happy life, happy wife. Coors Light. I don't think that works quite as well. But make sure you're getting over to CoorsLight.com/DNVR to order your Coors Light and choose chill today. Of course, Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Please drink responsibly. And once you've had your fill of Coors Light, make sure you're also taking care of your Shady Rays. Look, I don't recommend anyone get hungover ever, but Shady Rays can deal with that for you. At least hide your eyes, Or they can actually be used as real sunglasses while you're driving or just enjoying your day. As the days are starting to get longer, you can go to ShadyRays.com today and use code DNVR to get 35% off any pair of polarized sunglasses from Shady Rays. Over 300,000 people have given them 5 stars, and you can jump in. They even have prescription sunglasses. If you need help seeing, they've got those covered for you too. So go take a look at their hundreds of choices, whether it be different polarization colors, different designs, and all sorts of other options. Shady Rays has a pair for everybody. And the coolest part is when you buy a pair for the first 30 days, if you don't like them, you lose them or you break them, they'll replace them entirely for free. So get your Shady Rays today and get that 35% off with code DNVR over at ShadyRays.com. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. A bunch of other guys I do want to talk about here, but let's hear from Coach Jared Bednar first. Go ahead and roll it with him.
All right, go ahead, guys.
Interesting start to this one, Coach, but guys find a way to claw back. What did you kind of see out there?
Yeah, kind of sloppy first period. Had some trouble with their execution, but I think we played with a good conscience again, and then as the game kind of started to go, I think we got more involved, just more competitive and hungrier. Did a better job working through the neutral zone in the second period and creating some forechecks, and that kind of led to a little spark for our team. And yeah, I like the way we fought back in this one and sort of stuck with it and pretty resilient.
Vesey gets his first goal. What did you think of his game tonight?
I thought it was good. I thought everyone played pretty well, played pretty hard anyway, especially once we got going a little bit. But that was one of the lines, the hard-working forecheck lines, and kept their offensive game pretty simple, just shooting and going to the net and following it to the net, and we got rewarded by a couple net front goals.
Does getting these 2 points where you guys really are cemented now in your spot, it feels like, and does it change your approach over the last 3 games or not?
Not really. We're obviously dealing with a bunch of injuries, so we'll see who can get healthy and if we have the opportunity to rest some other guys. Now we've had some guys playing for a number of games in a row, and we'll just see. We got to play it by ear because I don't know who's going to be healthy. And once you're here and you're getting ready for the game and preparing for the game and you're all dressed up, you might as well go try and win, So you're not just going to go take it easy or whatever. So I don't think the approach really changes. We got to go through 3 more games. We're playing 4 lines a lot, using everybody as much as we possibly can with still letting everyone do their job and play to their strengths. So the game kind of dictates the ice time a little bit. Tonight, I'm sure McKinnon and McCarr would have, like, their minutes would have started to climb out of my comfort zone, but that's because you play overtime and they add another 3 minutes of ice, right? So, but yeah, we'll see who's healthy and who's able to play. I'd like to get all these guys in a game this week yet, and hopefully that happens.
Ross Colton, is that precautionary or is there an injury there?
He's got an injury, yeah.
4 shootouts in the last 9 games. No shootouts in the playoffs, obviously, but you like the resiliency, the fact the team's sticking with it and finding ways to scratch out those points?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you want the guys to get rewarded for their work, right? They're coming in here and putting in some hard work for a few hours, and you want to see, like, number one, good habits and, like, some detail to your game. And I thought that all those things got better as the game went on again. So, like, I'm seeing enough from our team to say, like, when the competitive spirit kind of takes over, that we're still doing some good things. You know, seems like we're having a little trouble getting going for these games, which I understand. But they're probably a little bit the same way, you know. I think you're running into teams that kind of know where they are and they're trying to get through it healthy and waiting for playoff time.
Charlie Coyle has 6 points in the last 3 games. How have you seen his game come alive over this last stretch?
He's been good. I mean, he was not feeling well tonight. Like, he had a tough time in between periods and on the bench, lacked some energy. But, like, that's the thing. Like, even when you don't have your best legs, you know, he's a detailed guy. He's a competitive guy, strong on pucks. So he just kind of does all the right things all over the ice in all 3 zones. And, you know, has a great assist and part of a big shift that gets us the equalizer, the VC goal, and then his impact on the penalty kill, obviously, at the end of the game is huge. Face-offs and just playing in the right spots and sort of denying middle ice, and then he's able to get the shootout winner on top of it. It's a pretty good night for a guy not feeling good.
The coaching fraternity is obviously very tight. Does your heart kind of go out for Michael Malone a little bit? I know that you know him a little bit. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's tough decisions, competitive, you know, business, and I hate to see it because, like, I've gotten to know him a little bit over the course of time. He's done a heck of a job here, as you know, and was able to bring a championship here. So those are always tough decisions for the organization. Heart always goes out to, like, those guys. I hate to see it, but, you know, sometimes it happens in this business.
You mentioned a little while ago that you don't really pay too much attention to the standings. Now in this little home stretch, are you almost glancing at that a little bit more?
No. I kind of know where we're at and what's going to happen in a week or so. So I'm watching, like, some of those races on teams fighting to get in the playoffs and seeing how that's going. And, you know, if there's other positions that can change spots, then I get interested in a little bit, but I'm mostly just watching highlights now when I go home at the end of the night.
Any last ones?
Are there any updates you can give with Gabe? Should we go to an Eagles game coming up on Friday, or anything you can share?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he's doing better and getting close, so that is still an option.
And just to confirm, Colton, day-to-day, upper?
Day-to-day, yeah, upper.
Yep, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Game. I do think it's important. You mentioned it a little bit. I mentioned the 2 assists. This is the second time Coyle has won the shootout for the Avs. This is not like some out of nowhere thing either. He's a 38% shootout guy in his career. I know he said he hated it and he hates it in his interview, just like we all hate it. But is that something you can lean on, as maybe there's a little bit of a clutch factor there in somebody like Coyle?
Absolutely, and doesn't look nervous. You know, I mean, I don't think this bodes well for the playoffs because, and again, he's been a good playoff performer all those years and all the teams he's played on. He's not nervous. He likes the moment. He didn't say that he likes it. He said that he gets nervous, but at the end of the day, you can tell that he's got poise. He won't let the emotions take over him for a shootout. Obviously, doesn't let the emotions take over him for a big penalty killing or a big play. So I think this is boding well for the playoffs. That he is a former Terrier, it's a plus. not a big deal. Maybe that's why he wanted to play today, to show his Terriers that are in St. Louis watching the game tonight that, you can fight through things, you know what I mean? And that's what Terriers do,
Sure, pal.
Wild animals that they are, Terriers.
Look, I've always said, and I'm sure this isn't true of absolutely everyone, but everybody gets nervous except for like actual psychopaths.
Yeah.
Nerves are normal, but it's how you take that energy and put it into playing your best hockey, or if you let that energy consume you and play not your best hockey.
And I do believe that experience plays a factor into that. You know what I mean? And that's
true.
The more times you've been in those situations, the more like overtime in the playoffs, a game 7 in the playoffs, a win, a loss of those situations. It helps you manage the emotions, and because I think you just said those guys they're wired differently. If you're playing in the NHL, you're wired differently because you think different than others, and I think pressure is warranted. It really is, and I think you have to embrace it. And the nerves. And I think you just go out there, and that's what makes legends. And that's why there's legends out there. So kind of fun, kind of exciting. So good on Chuck Charles for doing that.
I do want to go through the rest of the Avs lineup because I think there's a lot of other positives to talk about as you dig through the Avs depth in this game. Jimmy Vesey, Potts his first as an Av. Not a particularly complicated play, but good depth hockey. Another guy that is probably not going to be in the Avs starting lineup come game 1 of the playoffs, but a guy that if you need that depth, you can rely upon if you're Colorado.
Jimmy can play, plain and simple. Jimmy's done it. He's played in big games, and I think he will be one of those guys that, let's say he is not there at the start of the playoffs, because he's cast aside, fair. He's not going to complain. He's not going to be a distraction. He's going to put in the work, and he's going to be ready. And when called upon, he's going to deliver. Whether it's for 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 15 minutes, he's going to deliver. And again, it was nice to see him get rewarded tonight. He's been good with Wood and Coyle. They've been good for a few games. Jimmy can play. You're talking about up and down the lineup. He can play anywhere. He can play on special teams, even though he hasn't really done that here. I'm not worried about Jimmy, but I'm glad he got the first one. You feel like part of the team when you get one. It's just the way it is. So that was a feel-good story of the game, absolutely. And you need guys like that to take opportunities and to jump on situations that are given to them when other guys are not in the lineup right now.
You have to. You have to be able to have that. You need that depth if you want to be serious about being a contender. Beyond that, we talked about the goal, but I would like to talk about Val Nichushkin a little bit more. That goal gets him out of a bit of a slump. It was a 7-game goalless streak for him. The Avs need that guy to be going a key part of their top 6, especially when they get to playoff time. Not that I haven't even minded Val's game over this stretch. There have been some nights where he's been pretty darn good. The puck just hasn't been going in the net for him. Especially when you balance that with Lehkonen, who also has been snake bit as of late. Good to see one of those two guys get one in the back of the net, and hopefully they step forward and continue up this at a good pace.
I agree with you. I think his game's been fine. I'm trying to remember, was it 3 and 4 last week or whatever it was, where I felt he was out of gas a little bit.
Yeah, I think
like
so.
The rest of the team. But he's had chances. You can tell it's been weighing on him. You can tell his body language was like a little discouraged a little bit. And that one, let's just not kid ourselves. I mean, it barely crosses the line, right? You know what I mean? So, but it's a big play, and I think it's another feel-good story of the day because you don't want guys like that to go longer than like right now. It's weighing on me for Lecky. It's bugging me.
Yep.
For him, and you can tell too as soon as he shoots the puck, it's like. He's like, are you kidding me? But Val, you know what? Val's effort's always there. Val's effort, he's a hunter. He affects other parts of the game than just scoring goals. But when he is scoring goals, the Avalanche are pretty tough to beat. So, I mean, when he scores goals, it's a pretty sick record with him in the lineup. So I think it's good on him tonight, but I'm glad you touched on it. Where all of a sudden he feels better about his game. So looking forward to a lot of Val Nichushkin coming up here. Listen, he's had 20-plus goals this year.
Yep.
I mean, think about that.
20th. Scored his 20th.
Scores his 20th, and he's missed. We all know the story. We're not going to go back to it. Then he got injured.
Yep.
And he's having a 20-goal season. So that just goes to show you how valuable he is to the Avalanche, how valuable he is to his line mates, which, don't kid yourself, that makes a big difference, and how valuable he will be in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Let's not kid ourselves. When Val's healthy on and off the ice, and the Avalanche are a different team. So I think it bodes well for the last few games of the season, and obviously the playoffs when you get a productive Val Nichushkin.
Definitely matters for the Avs. I'll put it to you that way. You go up and down the lineup, and really, I don't have a whole lot negative to say about the Avs' depth in this game. I think you feel pretty good about just about all of the depth forwards tonight. They, some of them played better than others, but all of them pretty much did their jobs to an effective degree. The only other thing I would nitpick is discipline for the Avs a little bit, and the Taves overtime call is so soft. Like, how do you call that there? That's crazy. But the Keaton Middleton flipped the puck out with 4 minutes left in the third period. That one you got to clean up.
Yeah, again, that's nerves right there, right? It's 2-2. You're on the ice, and sometimes you're not on the ice when there's 3-4 minutes left in a game. But tonight you are, and then you think, just look back if you want to have fun with it. Again, I'm not making fun of Keaton. I'm saying it's amazing what moving your feet does. Mm-hmm. And right there, his feet are planted in the cement, and it's just now you start overthinking, and then you're like, my only play here is a flip, but you're hoping that it hits the glass. You're not thinking you're going to flip it over. So it's amazing by just moving your feet. It opens the game up. You don't need to. There was not a lot of pressure on him. So that's a tough play. But you know what? Good team guy. What do the guys do? They go and kill that penalty.
Yep, exactly.
So that's what a team does. I like seeing those things. So, but you're right. It's a tough play at the end of a game. You don't want that to be decided in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like, a stupid play like that, that could decide the fact.
It's a tough way to go. Yeah.
The ending of a game. So
don't do that.
No harm, no foul. We're good.
You did ultimately end up even on the special teams battle tonight. Not in the way you would like. You never want to give up a shorty, but you did not lose the special teams battle, and ultimately you did not lose the 5-on-5 battle. So for a regular season game with very little meaning, I think this one qualifies as good enough. When you look at the second and third periods, you want that every period in the playoffs. And I think the Avs will have it. I don't see any reason to believe they won't be more consistent with that effort level come late April.
Yeah, and if you look at the what do you call that? The mistake that leads their power play being -1, right? At that time, obviously they got it back. But and it's a mistake you never see. It's by the best player on the planet, and it's not just one mistake. It's because he bobbles it and then turns it over, but then he doesn't. It wasn't that magnificent of a pass from Riley Smith to Carlson. No. It's just Cale was.
He's just out of position.
I don't know. It was rattled.
He was lost,
and then you know what I mean. So that's some sort of an anomaly, whatever you want to call it, abnormal situation that you don't see the best player in the world making a mistake like that. Again, not worried about Cale Makar.
No, he'll be.
So if you just take that play away, it's not that bad because the power play was so bad that it got better and he gave you that goal that you needed to get back in the game. So we'll give him a passing grade there on that sense if you're talking about special teams, but a big kill. Couple times actually at the end of the game, the Keaton Middleton puck in the stands, and then obviously in overtime, that's a big kill. So
yeah, huge kill.
The Avs escaped it.
Casey in the Toyota chat is right, by the way. We need some winner shots out here. All right, gotta get us the winner shots when we're in studio. Help us out a little bit on that one as time is starting to run thin a little bit. I do want to talk about something that is pretty impressive for this Colorado Avalanche team as they reach the 100-point mark for their third straight season. Probably would have had more if full seasons existed for some of those years. There aren't a lot of teams in the NHL that have done that. I think it's 5 or 6. I'd have to actually count up the math. Florida has done it, or will do it as soon as they hit 100 points this year. There's not many others. Toronto probably will do it, assuming they hit their 100-point mark this year as well. It's pretty impressive territory how consistently good Colorado has been. The only reason I think it's flying under the radar a little bit is because how stupid the Central Division is that has multiple 100 to 115 point teams every single year. But the Avs consistently put up this level of performance every season.
Well, it's a double-edged sword, too. It's not just the 100 points, like you said, but it's the gauntlet that you have of the season because the Central Division is so good right now. So to get 100 points in that division, that means the bulk of your games are against the Central. Yep. So that means, wow, you're having a good year. You know what I mean? And very nice to see the consistency that they're getting. And hopefully Coach Bednar and the Avalanche, it's not just a coaching thing, but coaches, that's the record you see next to their name, can get to a 50 win season, right? That would be, 3 years in a row, right, with 50? So, man, it's 3 games to go. You need 2 wins. So, not that hard.
And for the record, over the last 3 years, the only other teams to hit 100-point seasons, all 3. In the East, it's just Toronto and Carolina. And then in the West, it's Dallas and Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas.
And Edmonton.
So...
And the Avs, of course.
And again, the teams that are at the top of the standings all the time, basically. So lately.
So the Avs are in that upper echelon. Make no mistake about
it. They're a good team. Wow. I mean, it's not like we're biased all the time. It's not like, somewhere, somehow, they prove us right. But again, to get 100 points, I always thought as a player, it's like, that's your goal. You want to get to 100 points. You know what I mean?
You pretty much make the playoffs if you have 100 points.
That's what I mean. Not 100 points as goals and assists. You know what I mean? I'm talking about if that was my goal, then oh boy, I ran short.
Nathan McKinnon's done it for 3 straight years.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying as a team, that's my goal. To make sure as a team we get 100 points. Usually you're in good shape. Again, this year it just happens that you probably won't get home ice, even though you're going to get more than 100 points.
Certainly not in the first round. You're not.
That's it. That's what I mean. And that's life. You know what I mean? And that's okay. You close your eyes and you get ready for the playoffs, and then you go and do whatever they give you. So if this is what it is, then this is what it is, and this is who we play, and we're on the road, then you're on your mission to 16 wins. So should be good. You've been a good road team all year. You got all the things in your back pocket, all the tools in your toolbox, meaning like all the weapons that McFarland and company went and got. So, looking forward to it.
I asked you this pregame a little bit. Let me follow up in what you think postgame for takeaways for a coaching staff or an analyst staff for a hockey team from a game like this. Because let's be real, that Vegas team was, if I'm being generous, depleted. If I'm being honest, also a low on the effort scale tonight.
I mean, they're in the same boat.
Exactly.
And if people think it's just, this team, meaning the Avalanche, like, guys, it's every team in the same situation.
Yep.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yep.
And there's a reason that all of a sudden, Peter Andrew, Eichel, all that kind of stuff. I didn't even look at the schedule. Like, did Vegas come from home or where they? I didn't even look. It doesn't matter. Not important. But what they were saying is, we're going to rest a couple guys, so we're ready to go by next week. And I think that's what's more important. Florida talked about it. They haven't been playing the greatest, but they've been resting guys, and they don't care because they're saying 3-6-1. We'd rather be in the playoffs healthy, looking forward to, jumping into situations that we're put in. But somewhere, somehow, the players, they dictate what they want to do. And, so we'll see. We'll see what happens here.
We'll see.
Is he rest or not?
I'm not expecting the final 3 games of the season to be bangers. I'll put it to you that way. I think tonight's game is about as entertaining as these games are going to get for teams
probably.
like Colorado and Vegas down the stretch here. And that's fine. You still can find things you like. You can still find things to work on, but you do have to take it with a bit of a grain of salt, knowing what time of year it is and that there really isn't a whole lot to play for right now for most playoff teams. So you live with it a little bit as we do kind of start wrapping up on things from this game here. I do think it's worth noting when you look at the possession metrics of this game, we already talked about Kale, but the Avs' best possession player in this game was Jimmy Vesey.
Jimmy!
It's not just a goal. There is quality hockey from back to front.
Yes.
In a game like that. So.
Jimmy. Big Daddy. Jimmy Vesey. His dad was Big Daddy. He can play. Smart guy. Smart player. Been in situations. You're talking about a low-key acquisition, like quiet acquisition that might all of a sudden pay off somewhere, somehow down the road. It might. And it will.
Yep.
So, for what it is, I'm telling you he's going to be Nathan McKinnon. I'm telling you that what you're going to need him for, he'll deliver. He'll do the job.
So. This isn't related to this game, but Bednar was pretty coy about most of the questions he was asked. What do you think? Gabe Landeskog. Does he play a game this weekend for the Colorado Eagles?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
Just a hunch. I haven't talked to anybody.
I'm not saying he for sure will play a game, but why would he go skate with the Colorado Eagles if that wasn't at least a thought that they had? Wouldn't he just skate with the Avs? Wouldn't he just go on the trip with the Avs?
Yes. And that's why, oh man, how can I say it? Like, I'm not worried about Gabe being in shape. Like, Gabe's in shape. It's what we talked about the other day. I'm worried about your brain, like your thought process, your timing, to make plays, to react to situations, to make decisions on the fly, to grab the right man or the wrong man, with the puck, without the puck, physicality. So I think it's important to get his brain, acclimated to game situations. You don't get that in practice. I don't care what people say. You just don't. It's life. I mean, I'm just being honest. You don't.
I'm not telling you the AHL prepares you for the NHL speed, but the stepping stone between hasn't played in 3 years to an NHL playoff game and an AHL game to an NHL playoff game, the step is less.
Well, we talked about it with Makar the other day, right? Taylor Makar. And I said, guys, college hockey's great,
Yeah.
But the American League is a step above. And then the NHL is a big step above. And, if you think that it's fast at the college level, then you're really going to be lost at the American League level. And then you're really going to be in a hot tub, whirlwind or tornado if you're at the NHL level. So I think for Gabe, I don't know. We'll see. If that's what it is, then that's what it is. And you go get a little bit of your timing back, and I got no problem with that. And actually, I would favor that if everything falls into place and the rules and everything. And who knows? There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, but if it works, then great. So be it.
Yeah.
I think you should go. That's what I think.
All right. I just want to see Gabe Landeskog play hockey. I don't really care.
Yeah.
Eagles, Avs, I want to see him play. Also, Eagles about to sell out of Landeskog 92 jerseys if he does play a game for them. Be prepared for that. I'm just saying. As we are finishing things up here, first of all, there's almost 300 of you in here, and we still haven't hit 100 likes. Let's go. Come on. 2 more if you can figure it out. Beyond that, though, Colorado, I think you kind of saw in some of the locker room interviews that we showed, everyone's asking the same question of how do you guys get up this part of the season? And, they usually give you the corporate answer of we get up because that's our job. And, we play hockey for a living and then yada, yada, yada. I think it's a valid question, right? There are very clearly guys that are not getting, certainly not up to the fullest potential, if up at all, some nights lately.
And that's around the league.
Yeah, again, not just this is not a stick on the Avs. This is just the NHL right now.
But people will say, like, yeah, but it's 82 games a year. How do you not get yourself up? It's the situations you're in. It's like, I don't know what to tell you. They clinched the other day, even though they had clinched.
Right. But it was official.
But it's official, then you know you're going to get a letdown. And they did, right? You know what I mean? It's just the way it is.
And you mentioned it earlier, a bunch of guys are hitting milestones. McCarr gets 30 goals. McKinnon ties the Avs all-time points record tonight. There's a lot of things that players are going, okay, we're through that now. Even a smaller milestone like Nichushkin getting over that 20-goal hump tonight.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's hard.
As we are going into overtime, love you, bye. Come to DNVR.com. Got it in, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, bye.
Either way.
I thought it was 03, yeah.
Yeah, me too. But look no further than Dallas's loss tonight for other teams that are
oh God, yeah.
Maybe not giving it their best.
Listen, and I'm not making fun of Dallas. They've been on a heater. It's awesome. But it's a record in the history of the league to give up 3
goals in less than a minute. Yeah.
To tie it up and then lose in regulation. So yeah, I know it means nothing. I'm not that dumb. That's not what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, yeah, when you're not invested in the game, and then Vancouver is because they're trying to stay alive, that's what you get. That's what you get.
That is what you get.
So it is what it is.
Final thoughts on this one as expectations of the Avs doing stuff are low. They're about to play a 3 and 4 to wrap up the season. And then they're going to have a handful of days off at the end of the season. Do you want to see a little bit of a step up in these games just because you know they're not going to be practicing a ton? Or are we really at a point in the season where it's like, all right, just get through this?
No, I mean, I want to see a little bit of the same thing that we saw last 40 minutes tonight, Thursday.
Yeah.
At home, in front of your fans that support you all year long. Get some guys in there that have not played. Get them back in. And we all know it's day-to-day. We all know they're being precautionary reasons why they're not playing.
When they say, yeah, he's got an injury, you know that it's probably not that bad of an injury.
Who knows by the weekend? Who knows by the weekend? If you can rest, I mean, again, that's me. I don't know what he's going to do with Mac if Mac's in a race for the
it could be for the Art Ross.
Ross, I don't know. We'll see. But I think you rest a couple guys over the weekend. Why not? I mean, I'm just saying. Because you got home, you got plenty of time to get ready with some rest days, ready days of talking about the other team, and then obviously getting all the other stuff done to make sure you are on point for your playoff run. So, yeah, I would just rest a few guys. That's me.
Me too. But we'll see how it all plays out. Chat, thank you for getting us over 100 likes. I do appreciate it. Cheers to you. Some Dr. Dub's medicine right here for the Winners Lounge. The good stuff. Hopefully, come late April, there's 16 of these to do.
Yes.
Okay. We are going to wrap this one up. We appreciate all y'all hanging out. It's officially tomorrow, local. So, games should not be allowed to start this late. I'm just throwing that out there. Start them earlier. We appreciate all of you. This has been the DNVR Avalanche post-game show. We are off tomorrow. We'll be back Thursday. Tune in. You know the drill. And we're presented by Bet365. We'll see you.
We all silly like the mayor.